Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. There is no hiding from that one. That was an absolutely horrendous result. After going up 1-0, we decided to throw it away and lose 2-1. That is 14 points in the last 10 matches and 3 points in the last 5. This is not good. We need to talk about it. We will talk about it. So this is WREXtra time. You are on the local pundit channel. I am Paddy Power. Guys, come on in, have a chat, because we need to talk about this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the local pundit.
If it comes in, oh, what a goal!
Oh no! Oh no! Celebrate! Are you kidding?
The Reds still top the league.
And on it, game is.
Okay, so what can we say about this, guys? I'm just going to go down the chat. I would not abandon you as much as I do not want to be talking about this match, but this is WREXtra time, the good and the bad. I will take it all. So let's talk about it. We can bring up all those crazy issues that we don't want to talk about. We can talk about Paddy. We can talk about AO. We can talk about almost every single player out on the pitch, and there is something to say. So for a change, I'm going to ask you to do something nice. I'm going to ask you to already hit the like before we even talk about anything. I want you to put in some comments, what you're doing on the live stream, and, you know, do all the nice things that YouTube and their little algorithm want you to do. So first up, I'm going to send out the link to come and join us. So the link is being dropped into chat now. Link to show. Boom. Copy the link, paste it in your browser, come into the background, and I will bring you in shortly. Right, guys, where are we going to start? I'm going to start where I started before our little intro video. Last 5 matches, 3 points. That is well below relegation standard. Now, it is only the last 4 matches. We have got a better average than relegation. So I'm not saying we're going to get relegated. I'm not actually worried about that looking at the table, but we are a mid-table team at the moment. Our team is not good enough. We know it's not good enough, guys. There are plenty of players that are playing at the moment because we have injuries, and there's nobody else suitable. I was watching the live stream and the comments, and for everybody who was shouting, saying that we need to change it around, we need to do something to sort this, guys, there isn't anything that we can really do. If you come on today, I want you to come on. Tell me what we can do to fix this. There's not much we can do. We just have to do our best to survive. We have one more match to the middle of the season. That is Sheffield United at home. And they are finding a bit of form. Now, they're not beating the best teams around, but we are not the best team around at the moment. So we are hosting them at home. And it's very possible we're going to lose that match. But just to be fair, as I said, the amount of points we got in this first half with all the injuries we have, if we get the same amount of points in the second half, we are safe from the relegation. We will be somewhere in the lower mid-table. I expect us to do better in the second half of the season. We do have the January window to help us out, and we are waiting for injuries to come back. So let's hit the chats here, guys. Hapsification is in first. I'm not gonna, guys, I will ask you, I know we're all annoyed, okay? Can we try not to swear in the chats today, please? And also, Josh has asked me to relay to everybody. He wants us to put on our cameras and have a very social communication. Just having voice isn't great for viewers who are watching. So if we can, please organize and switch on your cameras. Okay, I do want to put a lot of comments up, guys, so that's why I just want you not to swear into it too much, because I can't really put them up if they are. And also, I wouldn't mind putting up all the comments on stream and showing them, even if I don't bring them up as a highlighted comment. And I can't really do that if there's loads of swear words all over the place either. Okay, so from Habs here, head tennis, can't even string a couple of passes together. And predictably, we're stuck in our own box once again. Yes, caught in defense. And they keep getting turnovers. Andrew C is straight in. Hello, I guess we can't use the excuse anymore that we need time to gel. We need time to gel with the new players we have, but the new players aren't available on the pitch because they keep getting injured. And while we are talking about players getting injured, last week it was Hardy. This week it's Lewis O'Brien. So how long is Hardy going to be out for? We don't know, but he wasn't really part of our plans for the last while. Now we can't use him even if we want to, which I guess we don't. But now Lewis O'Brien has gone down with a shoulder injury. It didn't look great when he was walking off the pitch, basically using his jersey as a sling. So he could be out for a while. So that's another player down. Ashfield may be on the bench next week. By the looks of this, he might very soon be able to get a place on the bench at least. Okay. Michael, mid-table, we look poor, to be honest. Nobody has a clue what they're doing going forward. Slow build-up and always out wide and predictable. Feels like December last season. Need moved in January. Yep. Bono C was at Cosm tonight, watching it, where Josh was. To add insult to injury, my parking validation didn't work at Cosm and he had to pay. Okay, Matt Walsh, 6'10", 6. That is not great, but it's survivable. It's survivable if at some point we have to just write off the season and say that survival is enough. I think we're definitely on that scale. Matt White, first one with a Parky comment. Parky just can't find a way to work around our injuries, plain and simple. There needs to be a serious conversation about Parky by the ownership at the end of the season. His style is not made for this level. I will disagree with that. I think it absolutely can be used for this level because you see how weak we are, and on certain teams we can absolutely destroy them. They just can't handle it. The teams here cannot handle our style. But the difference is in the previous seasons, we have had the better players and used this style. We do not have the better players now. We need to take time and build ourselves a squad that is of a high enough championship level to play this. And we saw it with Coventry. We saw what it can look like when we have very good players in the correct positions, playing the style correctly. Parky was even starting to make adjustments. So I'm going to try and be very balanced tonight, as much as I can. But I think very soon discussions need to be had. Are the ownership going to simply write all this off as injuries? You can do that. Should they? Maybe not. But we'll see what they do. I think Parky has time. I don't think he's in danger, certainly just yet. Michael, first establish Wrexham at championship level and expand the stadium to increase capacity. Okay, establish at championship level, yes, which is basically this season. We will be establishing at a championship level. We will be adding new players. But expand the stadium to increase capacity. Yeah, we're working on it. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that has anything to do at the moment with getting us towards our goal of getting into the Prem. We have money. The longer we stay in the championship, the more money we will use on new players, the better our squad will become. And we will become a better and better team as we hang around the championship. We don't need this extra capacity in order to gain extra money to make us a better team. We have the money. So good to have, but I don't think it's that important. Habs is here. I'm going to bring him in. Guys, I'm going to put the link back out as well. I would like a few different people in tonight. Surely you want to talk about what we saw tonight and have your comments. It is a call-in show after all. Habs, hello.
Yo.
I didn't give you a up earlier, so you get some grace this week because you're always on. In future, Josh wants cameras on by guests, but we won't worry about that tonight for you. Special exemption. So that was horrible.
I don't even know what to say about that much. The match, I was just steaming. As right now, as you could tell from the comments I just put in the chat, it was just ridiculous. Most from beginning to the end, it was. As soon as we get the first goal, which was an own goal, then everything else just, all right, we were going to try and go for it again. We were trying to go for it a little bit, but then we could tell straight away that we were going back into old habits of just trying to go back, fall back, and we were just basically stuck in our own box. And when we do get that kind of chance to be able to go forward, it's always from a long pass. We're very reactive for some reason.
Yeah, look, it's hard to do anything about this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. How come when they score and we go 1-1, suddenly we can attack?
That I don't seem to understand. I don't understand this kind of thing where we can all of a sudden be capable of going on the attack when all of a sudden, as soon as they score, I just don't get it. We can score, then we sit back, then they score, then we try to go forward. We attempt to go forward. But it's not just an attempt of trying to go forward. It's a poor attempt of going forward as well, because they were always constantly getting around us. They weren't that great either. That's one thing. They weren't that great, but they were able to just try and pass the ball around. And this has been a consistent problem that's been happening throughout the time since the injuries that's happened with both Pikachu and Kabore. We can't pass the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. We just seem to be inept and incapable of passing the ball forward. And when we do try to pass the ball forward, it always gets turned over. I don't know what is going on. We just seem to have this weird habit of giving away the ball to the opposition. I don't know what it is. I kept seeing that all throughout the match.
Some of our players are just not capable of moving quick enough into triangle positions to receive the ball and allow options to the player that has the ball. Some of our players need seconds to consider their options on the ball. So if they can't do it instantly, they will play backwards. And it's a problem without our strongest team. Some of the players that are missing are some of our best general passers. And it was horrendous tonight. Here's what I'm going to say: one or two nice things about Swansea, and then I'm not going to talk about them again in any nice way. They can pass the ball quickly. They can move quickly. But that's about all I'm going to say. They're not a good team in general. They are down this low for a reason. They are also a bunch of absolute cheats, divers. And the worst I've seen all season. Is disgusting. Now, I do think they deserve to win the match. With the attacks that they had on us, we just allowed them to attack and attack and attack. And we should have learned our lesson by now. You cannot take that much pressure without at least getting counter-attack pressure on them.
We don't have anyone. We don't have anyone that can move it. That can move at that kind of pace.
Yeah.
What we have this bad habit of, when it gets to that point where we're trying to absorb that pressure to the point, we don't have this ability to be able to just take the ball and carry it forward. We can't do that. And if we try to, it always gets scuppered from us as well. There just seems to be this weirdly bad passing aspect of us. Again, as I was saying, and I agree with you, Swansea weren't great. They're not a good team. They can pass the ball around quickly, but because they can do that, they're not the best passers on the planet. They can't do proper tiki-taka football. But when they do it, we just seem to just be confused.
Yeah.
We just don't seem to have any capacity to be able to deal with that. And I don't know what it is.
Look, half our team are not confident. They're a League One team and they're not confident in the Championship, and they have to play at their absolute best in order to have a half decent match. I'm going to try and get through some of these comments as much as I can. Broadhead and Windass up front, maybe. We've kind of discussed that. I don't think it'll work without the wing backs, so that's another issue. Matt White, he says he'll stick with his 12th place finish, assuming we can get our wing backs to stay healthy once they return. Very possible. Fred here's, I saw his comment. I basically said it. Half the squad needs to play at their very best at this level, and that is a lot to ask week after week. We have been asking for some of our players to play at their absolute peak in order to have a good match. And they did it for a couple of matches, but I think now it's starting to show they can't do it every single week. Maka, for one, I'll just say it. He has had some okay matches, but he is trying to play his absolute best every single week, and he's not doing it.
It's kind of obvious at this point that some of the players are it's just becoming ridiculous. We were just playing head tennis the entire match. There was no one was able to string proper passes around it or be able to get around it, even through the midfield. There was just no passing through the midfield.
Yep. Yeah. Here's an interesting one. Let's see if you can answer this one. He has to try something though, Paddy, or are we just okay with this play? So let's throw it out there. Manager habsification. With the players you have available to you from the bench and from the squad, what do you do? Is this the best team he has available to him? Or what are you going to do? Are you just going to start rotating players until everybody has crap matches?
No. But there has to be some improvements done on the training sessions to try and string passes together.
Yeah.
Because there's something there is a habit, and we have this, and we've been doing it all throughout the season. Well, to a certain extent. When we had our wing backs, we passed. We had a passing game. As soon as we took the wing backs off, we just can't pass. For some reason, there's just no proper passing. There's no passing lanes. There's no passing angles. There's no one's going into zones to be able to pick up those positions to be able to carry those passes. No one's carrying the ball forward. No one's capable of doing that. We have to have someone, either Windass or Moore, at the other end of the pitch to be able to get the ball over when we just try and hoof it to them. And no one's there to form any triangles. No passing lanes are formed. Just nothing there. No one's getting to zones.
Yeah. Mark White, I'm trying to keep the faith until the wingbacks come back, but this run of games and play is making it tough. It's getting worse and worse if you look at the results. I said it at the start of the show, we have 14 points from the last 10 matches, and we have 3 points in the last 5. That is horrendous. John Merrill, that Lewis O'Brien looked a bad one, guessing a dislocated shoulder, which is possibly a long one. Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like.
And another injury. Another injury.
Yeah. So we had Hardy last week, who took a knock after his match. It turned out that he's out at the moment. Now Lewis O'Brien is out. Wiki says the obvious, we didn't deserve to win that game. No, we did not.
Even with the Arthur match, even with Arthur having that mistake on there, he's been one of the people who has been keeping us in the game a lot of the time as well. He had that moment where he's just screwed up. That's a bit of a monumental screw up, that is, as well. But they were still coming at us regardless of whether they didn't get that goal. And it was at some point they were going to score. It kind of felt like Hull all over again.
Yeah.
They just kept coming at us every time. And at some point they were just going to break through.
Yeah. Mike is saying, I was always standing by Parky and giving him the benefit of the doubt because of the success of the last 4 seasons. But after the declining quality of play and the fact you can't fire all the players, question mark, implication, fire Parky. Declining quality of players, what do you expect? We kind of have already said this, that they started off playing to their absolute best, and slowly they're getting weaker and weaker. They're playing more and they're still trying to do their very best, but they can't do it. They just can't do it. Wayne Evans, keep buying old blokes, keep losing. Maybe slightly simplistic, but fair enough. Mickey, can't play defensive for 90 minutes. It does not work. Josh Anthony's here. Dreadful tactics. Okay, I'm going to slide down through these as quick as I can now, and then we get on to some of the main topics. Okay, John, I can't accept that the wing backs cause a team to funnel back and simply defend. As you proved in that game, you are capable of attacking with the current wing backs. We are capable of attacking with the current wing backs, but we leave massive holes in our defense when we do so. So it's a question of risk versus rewards, and we all know Parky is risk averse. So you have to kind of put it on Parky. And here's the question John asked me in the pre-game show. Would I prefer to go for it and lose, or just take the draw? At the moment, I just want the points. Like, I want to keep pushing the points as fast as we can. But once we have a stronger team, I absolutely would always want to go for the attack and risk winning 3 points versus losing a 0. Because the difference between a draw being 1, it's valuable. It's the simple numbers say you go for the win all the time. The away matches and everything else, you go for those 3 points. But that's not Parky.
But the problem is that there's a few problems with that. Because we play with such risk aversion, it's now starting to become very predictable, and now people are going to find out how to just straight up beat us now. They're going to know, unless we can get... That's why I'm hoping for January to come as quick as possible, so we can just get some proper quality in. And we need to start playing with a passing sense of game. But we are going to... They're just going to just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and they're just going to get through.
Yeah,
they know how to do it now. Just keep pressuring us enough, and you're going to get a goal. Either we're going to make a mistake with Hyams with the first goal they got. That came off of Hyam. That did.
Yeah,
and
there was a load of mistakes tonight, everywhere on the pitch.
There were so many. There were just so many. When we got up to that first goal, right? When we got that first goal, we were putting it on them. We were pressing hard against them. As soon as we got that first goal and it was an own goal, everything just went wrong. We were overloading the hell out of their players as well, putting overloads on every single one of their players. They were stuck trying to pass backwards. They were doing the backwards and sideways passing. And we were just constantly putting the pressure on them every time. And then all of a sudden, first goal goes in. Then they start getting their passing game in, which wasn't even that good. And we kept giving them space for some reason as well. Did you notice that? On the side of where McLean was.
Yeah, McLean always gives space. He always gives space because he doesn't want them to run around him. It's so obvious with McLean. He does this all the time. And again, I spoke about this during the week. McLean gives that extra yard in order not to have someone just run past him and make him look a fool. So instead, he gives the extra space and can do nothing about them moving the ball around until they actually take their shot, and he hopes to get a block on it.
But that's how they end up getting the first goal as well. And they kind of it was kind of an own goal. Yeah, it was an own goal, but it was just a deflected one in which Hyam was trying to stop. But all they did was just go through him, pass it to the side. They knew how to just bypass him completely. They just passed it diagonally and straight forward into it.
He had a horrendous game today. I don't think he did. Well, he did a bit, but he had a horrendous game in general. Loads of mistakes. They knew they could get past him. Absolutely. And we knew we couldn't go up that side of the wing very much either for him. It was all on Longman's today. And as usual, they put the pressure on the more dangerous wing and overload it. And it makes it hard. Longman actually did a reasonable job today.
He was fighting.
He was fine. Yeah. And he did show the difference between him and Barney again today, in that he could attack himself. He was willing to take on the defenders. And he did that numerous times. And he came out the best of it most of the time. Not every time, but it shows why he is better than Barney, I think, clearly tonight. He got lucky with the goal that got deflected, but he put the pressure. He put the pressure in there, and the defenders were worried about Moore getting ahead on it, tried to clear it, got it wrong, it went into the goal. Okay, some comments there from John about AO. We will have a full discussion on AO. I'll just leave it for a few minutes. I really want to get to bunch of these comments. I'm almost there. Okay, AO. Okay, Java Jack, I'm not going to put this one up, but basically Parky is too conservative, sit back and pray for a goal and hold on. Okay, John Merrill. For me, you cannot take pressure out of games by keeping the ball for a couple of minutes. The midfield has to take control of game moments. Yours doesn't look capable of doing that. It's not an option we have. We can't hold the ball for 60 seconds. We can't keep passing the ball around just to give everybody a slight breather before we try and attack. There was times tonight we could barely pass the ball out of our own back third, our own defensive third. We had so much trouble even just passing it around and getting it out. It was horrendous. Okay, Matt White agrees on Longman. Longman is far more likely to start than Barney. Absolutely. I was questioning at half-time. Here's a question for you. Did you think that Barney was going to come on at some point and McLean was going to come off? Was it just the injuries and the other problems, or was Parky going to keep McLean on the full 90 minutes and only use Barney when absolutely necessary?
I don't think he was going to bring him on. I just don't think he was going to. He would only have brought him on if it was absolutely necessary to do so, because if we put Longman on the left hand side, it would have been better for our left. But then we have to worry about Barney, and then Barney would end up. Everyone knows how to deal with Barney. He just goes straight through him. You don't need to. He's not defensive. His defensive capabilities are quite weak. Him going forward is very predictable, and all you have to do is put a bit of pressure on him. You can do a 1-on-1 on him, and he will fold.
Yeah. Do you still think Maka on the left, Barney on the right is better than Longman on the left and Barney on the right?
Sadly, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. That's how it is, because we don't have that kind of player. Barney isn't the type of player that is just going to go forward. And if there's two people trying to challenge him, he's not like Kabore, where he was like, all right, I'll go straight through you. He doesn't have that capacity. He's so predictable, and he's not that fast either. He's just going to go forward, do a step over, stop the ball, do a step over, and then try and get a cross and get it over to someone. But the thing is that he's really good at that, and he's really good at that cross. But is anyone really going to stop him? Is anyone there going to be able to? Is he going to be able to do it with such courage? In other words, in comparison to someone else, someone like Longman, because he was going through the wings. He was.
Okay, let's have a look at this. Here we go. Ready. Boom. Okay, let's get this comment out of the way. Right, so here are the FOTMob stats for tonight. The only one in the green is Clewett. So let's have a quick chat about Clewett. How did you rate him tonight?
I mean, he was trying to stop everything he could.
He was working his ass off, is what he was. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not much else I could really say. He was doing everything he can. So,
and he was getting involved in all the attacks as well.
He was, and the amount of times he stopped that the sub called Ulm, the South Korean player, because on any other day he looked quite dangerous. He would be that Ulm player, but he seems to be able to just anytime before. I can't remember who the player was before, but he was managed to be able to stop them. He was a brick wall basically.
Yeah. Okay, then the back two, Hyam and Doyle. Both had bad nights. Obviously, Hyam's mainly for the own goal, I guess. Otherwise, he was kind of okay. Big question here, though, is Hyam and Doyle better than Hyam and Scar? I think Hyam has covered for McLean better previously. Now, not in the whole match. He looked completely outpaced in the whole match. So maybe it's a particular match. But Swansea were pretty fast. They were getting past McLean, and I don't know that Doyle was picking them up. He was doing his best. I don't want to hammer the defense too much, because when you have a weak midfield and you have McLean on that side, it's really hard to pick up everything.
The thing is, Doyle was able to keep up with some of the players. He was able to keep up and do that, and he was able to push the game forward as well. Well, as far as he can with the midfield that we have and with McLean on the left. But it felt like we were just stuck. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. I mean, who we got next?
Sheffield United.
And who we got after that? Is that P&E again?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not feeling confident.
Yeah, and P&E Jeff just joined us in the chat. His comment is tougher than you think in the championship. You know what? No, it's not. It's about as tough as I expected.
No, it's not even that. I'm already very much familiar. When we know what the championship is like, it's just our players are just. We just keep getting injuries, and we just don't know how to play through the middle now at this point, and we can't pass balls now.
Yeah. Go on. Finish your thought.
No, I was just saying we're struggling. Actually, there was a positive. It was a positive, actually. Rathbone. You could tell how different the game was when Rathbone came on as well.
Yeah.
He was trying to pass the ball around. He was trying to connect some passes together. Everyone else wanted to play head tennis.
And the other thing I will give him is every time the ball was moving around with him or bouncing in his direction, you were waiting for a moment of attack. You could see he was looking to attack and get immediately into dangerous positions. You could feel it.
You could see it, and you could feel it as well. And it's the same with Broadhead. That moment where Broadhead was so close to getting the goal as well. It's like they were really the only two that were just trying to carry the game forward. Yeah. And I just didn't feel anyone else was doing it. And some of the part, actually, best stick to the format. Go with the next people on the football thing. I'll tell afterwards.
Yeah. Jeff, just want to try it out there. Do you want to come in and join us and have a chat as a more neutral? You're welcome to come in. Link is in the chat. Right, let's hit the midfield then on the wings. Longman on the right. I was quite impressed with Longman. I think he did a pretty decent job tonight. 6.7 by FOTMob. No idea why McLean gets a 6.5 and Longman gets a 6.7. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I know McLean got in on a couple of attacks, but there's worlds of difference between the two players tonight as far as I saw.
Did you notice, have you been noticing that McLean's crosses seem to be getting worse game by game as well?
Maybe he's simply getting tired.
So I'm noticing it. It could be he's getting tired, but they're getting worse game by game. They're not getting any better now. They don't have the height. They don't have the precision. There's something wrong with those crosses.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And they're not getting into the dangerous positions. Not really. Okay. Then without jumping on them too much, let's get through these and then we can pick people out if we need to. Right, we have Sheaf 6.6, Dobson 6.9, Thomason 6.9, 6.0. What is that? Can't read it. 6.0. I'm going to go to the screen. Hang on. No, they're both 6.9. Okay, I need glasses, guys. I need to go to the optician. Okay, so tough time in the midfield today. Is it their fault? Should they be doing better? They should definitely be passing forward more. Whether they're capable of doing it maybe is a different question.
There were no passes. I just didn't really see much passes.
Yeah.
I saw more passes from Clueworth when he was in the midfield.
Yeah. Thomason is the newest player. How do you rate him compared to everybody else we have? I know he's been put out of position and some other stuff, and I try to ignore that. I just don't see championship quality here, or certainly not upper championship quality.
I can see it.
Okay.
I can see it. He is trying to get the ball forward. He is because he's on the left, and he has to work with what he's got on the left with the wing backs. Here's the thing. He's overcompensating for McLean. He is. That's what's happening. His quality is there, and you can see his quality there. He is trying to pass the game around, and he's trying to find that space because you can see him recycle balls or try and take the ball forward. Problem is that you have to deal with McLean, whom he has to also overcompensate for, and so he gets overloaded. Because you can tell there were multiple times where Thomason was there, and players are just besieging on him.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Kelly Davison is saying here, Broadhead and Ratbone helped change the game. Yeah, just very briefly there, while it's up, Broadhead had some nice chances where he actually ran them in himself, which is good to see. He needs to do more of that. Ratbone, as we already said, just looks dangerous. He looks quick. He's looking around him for passes, and he's looking to attack himself as well. So that's those. They came on as subs. Then we have Moore and Windass up front. Did they play poorly, or did they just simply not get space?
For Moore, he did play poorly. I saw him do some strange passes. Like, he was giving balls away, he was.
Okay.
There were loads of moments I saw Moore when he gets the ball. His hold-up play, always good, doing all the things he usually does and trying to get the ball, but he didn't get any service. And when he did get the ball to try and pass to anyone, he just passed them. He just did some hospital pass. They were just out in the middle of nowhere. No one was collecting it, and Swansea were just turning it over. For Windass, there was a moment where he had a chance to cross over. Moore just seemed to be like a yard or two behind. There was that bit where he could have gotten a goal, where Windass did that cross.
Yeah. I gotta say though, at one point I was going crazy because Moore was the first one back in the defensive line, and there was one or two others further across on line with him. But how on earth is Kiefer Moore ending up on the same back line as our defenders and being the first one to the ball? This is crazy. The fact that he needs to do that, and that's one thing I will absolutely give Moore, even if he does have a poor game, and I know he does have a poor first touch sometimes, but he works his ass off in defense. But why is he being asked to play such a heavy defensive role? It keeps him out of position. It's a nightmare.
There seems to be this. I don't know what it is. We just seem to. I mean, even Windass pointed it out a while back in the interview, saying that for some was this. I think this was the P&E game. We just seem to just turtle in for some reason. But as soon as we get the first goal, we're like, all right, we're going to start falling back until they score, and then we go all onto panic stations. And so we need to get that second goal. Where was this energy coming from earlier? Why didn't you do this earlier? Can you only react? Is that all you're capable of doing? Just reacting as soon as they get the goal? Because you need to get the goal to get up and get those points? That's not what we should be doing.
It's not. And the problem is that it is not a one-off. It's not like an odd match where that happens. This happens all the time. Immediately when someone else scores, or when we lose and go down to a draw from a winning position, it's like all of a sudden there's this switch and we can attack again. And I'm like, where is this when we are winning? Where is this when we're drawing? It's just not there. It disappears. And Parky has even called it out one or two times himself in post-match interviews and stuff. And I'm like, Parky, really? Are we supposed to believe that this is the players doing this? That this is not what they believe they have to do because of the way they're instructed? And I know he, in theory, lets the players have the freedom and flexibility to play whichever way they think is best in this situation. But you can be too fluid, you can be too open, which leaves players not understanding what they're supposed to be doing. And I wonder if that has happened a little bit with Broadhead, because Broadhead came out this week in an interview and was discussing things, and he said that it's been a big switch for him from Ipswich, that they played extremely set up, that he knew exactly where he's supposed to be, quite rigid in play. Everybody knew where they were supposed to be. They had very set patterns. Whereas here, he is starting to figure out the amount of flexibility he has, and that it's his responsibility to find the open spaces in order to be available.
It is showing that. It is showing that as well. He's like his intelligence is showing through from that as well.
Yeah,
where he's able to just take the ball and do it himself. But there is a problem that comes with that, is that everyone else just seems to be falling behind because of how much of a higher quality Broadhead actually is and his football intelligence.
Yeah. And if it is a work in progress for him, I'm pretty sure, by the sound of that interview, because if he got the ball in open space and he's used to everything being rigid, he's looking around for everybody else to play in. And when he looks up at our team, there's no one there. There's no one near him that he can play in. And now he's starting to figure out that when he gets the ball in open space, he needs to be moving it himself. He needs to stop relying on other people and cause and create the danger himself. And maybe a rebound will go in for somebody else, but he needs to start getting shots in himself. And he looks extremely dangerous. He looks like a top quality player when he starts to make movements like this. And we saw it again tonight.
The problem is that whilst that is good and that is showing his football IQ and the quality he has as a player, it also shows the lack of quality that we have as well overall.
Yes. Yep.
Because yes, you have more of these rigid systems that you would have elsewhere, and you can have that kind of like more fluid system and independent kind of style of play, but there seems to be this weird thing where we just can't pass the ball. Like, you need to get the ball to him, or he needs to be able to get the ball to someone. He needs to be able to trust someone to be able to get the ball to, in case he can't do everything himself.
Yeah.
It just don't know where it is.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a big problem, and it's something that's going to keep happening until we get a bit more rigid in our playing patterns. And that is just going back to passing for the moment. Is in order to have fluid passing, you pretty much need to have set patterns of play that everybody knows, and it's like ABC, ABD, ACD. You know, everybody knows how this works. And it can be done really quickly without thinking too much. These patterns should be ingrained, and you should know exactly where players are. That type of system does not work with the freedom and flexibility that Parky has been giving players.
But it also means that it means you do get to see individual quality that does shine. But the problem is that we do need that because we're going to need to go forward. We need to have much more aggressive, high possession, passing, pressing, and we just don't have that. It's just not working. I don't know why we just can't go forward. And it's really exposing our midfield to be really weak. It is as well.
Yeah. Well, this is why I'm kind of bringing up the patterns of play. When you're playing out from the back, you absolutely should have patterns that everybody's aware of. Quick passing patterns you can do to get the ball out of your third. And this leads into getting into attacking positions. And from there, you can have open and options. And if somebody sees something, they can break the pattern and just go. John has joined us in the back. Hey, John.
Hello.
Yeah, John.
Just dying to come in and critique us, aren't you?
Do you know what? I was actually trying to come in and be the positive one, but I'm not.
There's not much to be positive about.
They're really not even from a neutral point of view. That was an awful game of football. Yeah, not great.
Give us something positive, then, John.
No. I've got a comment started from John. I might as well bring it up now because it's actually a perfect time. So the comment was this one from earlier. I'm surprised there hasn't been more keeper talk. Not gonna lie, that's a bad mistake by the keeper, and in many a year. Okay, so we spoke about the rest of the team briefly, going over the foot mob scores and stuff. We didn't talk about AO. AO's goal, the goal he let in was horrendous. He came so far out to clear that ball, and he didn't get a full contact on it. And then it bounced around in danger. He got back, he got his hands on it, tried to kind of tuck it into his chest and secure it, completely flubbed it. It slipped out between his elbows, bounced down and got knocked in. And you could see Dobson's face as it was going in, that we've lost this. It was coming. That was coming from AO. There was always a mistake available in the way he plays sometimes like this. But I will allow it. I'm going to say it straight away. A horrendous mistake like this once, maybe twice in a season, I'll get over that from a keeper. He's generally a good keeper, but that was bad tonight. It really was bad tonight. We should be able to allow a keeper to have one or two horrendous mistakes in a season, but the rest of the team just aren't making up for it either. He has saved us plenty of points with some of his stretch long saves that he's made. But I understand why people are giving out about it, why people are unhappy about it. We've all seen this coming. Something like this was bound to happen at some point for AO. And these are the issues he has. He's not a perfect keeper.
I think the issue for me, it's two mistakes, isn't it? It's the coming all the way out, which never in a million years should have done. Then he basically punches it behind himself. And I don't even know what he's doing. I mean, he basically catches the ball and nutmegs himself in sort of one motion. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit more brutal on goalkeepers. I always have been. I can accept making, like you said, the odd mistake in that, but those are two horrific mistakes. In a close proximity at the business end of the game as well. I just, it's one of those. I just can't accept goalkeepers making mistakes in the dying minutes of a game. That's just me.
Yeah, and I'd certainly think that's fair to make that argument.
It's an understandable thing to say, really, but that is even if you were to take that out of the situation, that mistake, we should have killed the game off. Even if they'd gotten that goal in, we should have killed the game off a long time ago. And we just struggle to do this. He shouldn't have been put into that situation in the first place.
He shouldn't have in general. Yes, that's fine. But for Arthur, that was ridiculously far out. He was
It was.
right on the line of his box, and
It was.
and there was earlier ones coming down in the middle of his box that he took a step that he was going to go for it and chose not to. Why? What on earth made him go for that one of all of them right out on that line? I don't know. It was a moment of madness, and he almost got away with it, like you said. You know, he had those spills, he had those mistakes, and everybody covers for everyone else. And this is why I will allow goalkeepers the odd horrendous error, is because every other player on the pitch seems to get away with it. If you don't end up leading to a goal, then people kind of brush it under the carpet and say, Jesus, we were lucky to get rid of that, but it's gone. People forget about it. Not the same with keepers. And I understand why, because usually when they make those mistakes, it's a guaranteed goal. It's rare you make such a horrendous mistake and it's not a goal for a keeper.
The thing with this one that if I was you guys, I don't know what I'd be like, let's be honest. The first mistake with the punch and that, I can half forgive that because he's come to get it, he's got something on it. That's a lack of judgment. It's the second one that does me in. He's got no pressure in the sense of no one's on him, if you know what I mean. He's got two hands on the ball and he somehow fluffed it up. That can't happen. Simply can't.
There's going to be heavy criticism on him after this. Absolutely. Everybody who was complaining about AO are going to come after him. Absolutely. And rightly so. You know, this is one of those situations where I might have a different viewpoint than you or others on AO, and I might be a little bit more forgiving, but I can't defend your position. You know, I have my position, you have your position, but I'm not going to try and argue you to my side. Not on this. It's fair to have that position.
I think he's a lucky boy your other goalkeeper's still injured. Because let's be honest, if he wasn't injured, there's no way he stays in the side after that.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of comments here. No, that can't happen. Honestly, it's rare. He has saved us more than he has cost us for sure. Correct, he has. Now, there's a simple argument here is, of course, your keeper is supposed to save you more than he costs you because it's not an even situation here. It's not like a 50-50. It's supposed to be a 99-1%, pretty much, you know. So, yeah. And Freddie, AO's mistake was one of those things you need to expect every 10 games or so. That's why you have to score more than one goal in most games. I
can't take that.
I don't accept 1 in 10. I might expect twice in a season. If they're top play otherwise, you might accept 2. But in fairness, like most top keepers don't make such horrendous mistakes. You know, it's like they just wouldn't have come for it.
No.
They wouldn't have gone out for that one.
It depends on the mistakes, isn't it? I think, you know, if you're a team that are playing out from the back and the goalkeeper gets caught out, you almost accept that those things will happen because it's a product of what you're doing. The one thing that I think everyone would say, it's the basics, the goalkeeping basics, that you can't make those errors at, which, to be honest, it's like you say, it's rare, but I mean, that's 2 clangers in the space of like 2 seconds, basically.
Yeah. Josh has a nice point here. I can forgive AO. That was poor, but we take too much pressure. Which is a nice valid comment. We were inviting way too much pressure as a team. We were staying way too deep, and this has been happening for multiple matches, again and again and again. And AO has saved our bacon in those situations on multiple matches where they've gotten in on top of us into really dangerous positions where they should have scored, and he's pulled off a long stretch to his bottom corner and gotten the glove on it and kept it out. Normally, when things like that go wrong, it's actually one of the defenders has messed up, and then the player gets in on a massively dangerous position on AO, and he scores a goal. And we don't blame AO, because ultimately he didn't lead to the mistake, and there wasn't much he could be done because he was left one-on-one in a horrendous position. He would never be expected to save it in that position. But tonight, he's the one that made the mistake, and ultimately it became the goal, which was poor. The other one, just while we're talking about it, the other goal that went in wasn't his fault. He was diving to the correct side. The ball was actually going out, but if it was on target, it looked like AO had it perfectly covered the way he should do, and it just took a bad ricochet, and it was the defender's problem that caused the goal. And this is what happens when you invite that sort of pressure. We put that pressure on Swansea for the first couple of minutes, and we swung a ball in. They were worried about Kiefer Moore behind. The defender tried to clear it and knocked it straight into his own net. Pressure. It can cause these problems. And it happened both ends, 2 own goals, and then an absolute, I don't even know what to call it, horrendous spill. The likes you generally don't see too often.
When you invite that kind of pressure, you're inviting those kinds of mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do. You're going to eventually have those kind of mistakes.
From someone. Yeah, not necessarily the keeper, but someone is going to make that mistake. And we had mistakes all over the pitch tonight. All over the pitch in loads of dangerous positions. We had defenders making horrific passes, passing it to the other team, passing it to nowhere. We had midfielders doing it. Everybody was making these mistakes because we were taking such horrendous pressure.
And it was just the aerial balls. They were just staying in the air. They were expecting the head tennis that they were playing, just head tennis, hoping that someone else would get it. And then they do the head tennis again, and then hoping someone else would get it. And then they do the head tennis again until someone else gets it. And then it ends up ultimately in the hands of Swansea, and they get the ball on the ground and carry the ball and pass it. And whilst we're just stuck playing head tennis. And then when Arthur gets the ball, he long balls it, he kicks it out, and then we have to go to the other end to try and see if we can get something out of that. And then eventually at some point, they kick it out, they start playing the passing game. They go through McLean on the left side because there's so much space. They do a diagonal pass. No, sorry, what was it? They do a 90-degree pass. They go either go to the center or try and get it into one of the tops. And it was just so predictable every time. This has been happening every game. This has been in every one of our draws. This has just been one predictable thing every time.
Okay. Two questions for the chat here. I want the chat to try and get involved if nobody else is coming in. So here's a comment. If I can scroll back up. Here we go. From Java Jack. Parky has done great things for this team, but don't tell me he's long for this job. So let's bring it up and let's have a bit of a discussion on it. But I want to open it up slightly differently as well. Yes, let's talk about Parky and his tactics because his tactics are part of this. But I want to also extend it into some people are calling for he needs to do something else. He needs to make changes in this current situation with this many people injured and not available. What can he do? What should he be doing? I want answers to what you think is logistically possible with what we have. Or is it just survive with what we're doing? Is he doing the correct thing? And he just literally has to keep doing it and hope that we get enough points to scrape through to where we need to be.
Deep and meaningful, that one, isn't it?
No, but it's two things. I don't want to just hammer Parky and have comments for no reason.
Yeah.
What
I think the thing is with Parky, he's not going to change, is he? So people calling for like a back four and stuff, that he's going to play a back three. So he is going to play wing backs. That will not change. The only thing I suppose he could probably tweak is what he's got in front of those, in the midfield. Could he go a bit more attacking? Could he go a bit more direct and just play two strikers up front? Go with somebody like Smith and Moore up front and just go very uber direct into them and sort of cut out the midfield. But the thing is, he's not going to change, is he? I mean, he hasn't changed his entire managerial career now, so he's not going to reinvent the wheel all of a sudden.
Okay,
So he's.
but that's my point a little bit. In that, okay, if you can come up with logical ways of how he could potentially make us better, but he's unwilling to do it, then that's a fair argument for he needs to go. You know, that he's not taking these options, he's not considering it. And this is just kind of where I want people, I'd like them to put that across.
Could I answer that with a question?
Go on.
You know, if people are saying about, you know, make changes and stuff, what would you say is, you know, what is a good change? Are people asking him to be more attacking? Because I bet you in his mind, he would make changes to probably make you more defensively solid so you don't lose tonight, for example. Because it is clear to see, like you said, the wing backs, you are defensively a little bit wobbly at the moment. And I think the stats are is that 3 out of your last 4 games, you've took the lead and not won the game. So it does suggest there's a weakness there. So I don't see, you know, it's one of those where you can say put attacking players on the pitch or, you know, go more adventurous and that. He's not that sort of manager who thinks that way. It's more likely the other side. He's more likely to go more defensive than he is more attacking, if I'm honest. Which I think is probably the way he plays and the way your team is structured. I think that's realistically the only thing you can do. I think you go a bit more defensive and maybe play a 2 up front and go a bit more direct. That's what I think. You know, if he was going to do anything, that's what I could see him doing.
Okay. Habs, what's your take?
We need passes.
Do we have them?
That's not really, no.
Okay, because I don't want to go down the road of what we don't have. I want to try and couch this in, we know what we have. Is Parky correct in just doing more of the same because he has no better options?
He doesn't really have much better options in this case. That's the best way to put it. With what he has available, but he could change this around in terms of trying not to go as defensively, put the more attacking players in, but try not to go for that. It has to be something done on the training pitch where we have to change up the way we play. Because if we continuously do the same thing over and over, because we've been doing this same thing for the last few matches now, we keep falling back. Either we're going to have to put some more attacking players in that can go through the entire match and avoid having to play the head tennis game. It's going to have to be something drilled into the players to just try and pass the ball around and go forward for it as well. Get the triangles made.
Okay, so the only thing you're saying is he has to drill them better on these quick passes, which he hasn't been doing. You haven't seen enough improvement over the last 10 matches since we lost our wingbacks.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Matt White here is saying move to the 3-4-2-1, which we have discussed previously, basically a box midfield. The issue I have with this is when you have 4 at the back, that's going to make it worse when you don't have your wing backs. Now you've only 2 at the back base of your midfield, and you have the 2 wingers, and you don't have cover for them. At the moment, we're trying to play a flat 3 in the middle with a 5 system, and we need those players to cover for our wingers because they're not strong enough. So I don't see the 3-4-2-1 system really working without the wingers either.
Not with the wing backs we got.
Not with the wing backs we have available to us right now.
Yeah.
I think I think the thing you've got at the moment, isn't it? You've not got your preferred wing backs, and they are clearly a weakness. So the midfield that he picks, essentially, you've got Dobson and Thomas. They are essentially covers, aren't they? They give the wing backs extra support. So for me,
they're not available to attack.
They're not available to attack. So the problem is getting rid of Dobson and and putting more attacking players in midfield. You're leaving yourself even more exposed defensively then. So I think that's counterintuitive to be honest. It's one of those where he could do it, but I mean, for example, you go against Sheffield United and say he goes more attacking, and your wing backs are left sort of almost one-on-one with their, and you get crucified. Well, he's hung out to dry as a manager, saying, "Well, what are you doing?"
Yeah. Okay. Comment from earlier I starred that I want to bring up. Saved. Oh shit! I unstarred it and it disappeared. Oh crap!
I have a solution.
Go on. You talk while I go back and find this because it was a good comment.
If we have to go defensively, and this is going to be, I said this as a joke, but we might need to do this. Bring Connor Cody on as defensive midfielder.
Okay. And
If we are going to have to try and play as defensive as possible, then that's what we're going to need to do. Bring on some of our players and put them as more defensively. Same with Scar as well. They're not playing in those positions to be able to keep us from being able to take that kind of pressure.
okay.
You just break up play.
Right. So it was Michael's comment, Michael PK03. And here it is. Right. Consider this one. I know Parky won't do it, but let's discuss it and see whether he's wrong not to do it. Parkinson should have gone to a 4-3-3 a long time back, but he never would. Play Moore up top with Broadhead on his left and Windass to his right. Doyle at the left back, Max at the right back, and play Scar and Hyam as your centre backs. You're making faces, John.
I put it this way: I would love you to play that against us, because I agree 4-3-3s. It's a good, but you need the players to do it. You can't go to a back four and have Doyle and Max as your fullbacks, because you rely. Well, they're not fullbacks, are they? And your fullbacks in a back four need to go that way and go that way, and they need to do a lot. And neither of those two are capable of doing that. Yeah, it's about having the right personnel, isn't it? I agree with the top end of the pitch. I'd say, yeah, perfect. He's having Moore as a central striker and then having Broadhead off the left. That would work perfectly well. And I think you've probably got the midfielders to do a midfield three. You just haven't got a back line capable of doing a back four, because I don't think you've got two centre backs good enough to hold their own and you don't have the fullbacks. Well, you don't have any fullbacks, do you? Let's be honest. You've got wingbacks or wingers.
But this is kind of the point of removing the wingers and just going more defensive with the four rather than running them up the pitch, because Max is already getting up the pitch in attack all the time. And Doyle likes to try and do it as well. He progresses the ball forward. So, yeah, they might not be as good. And if again, the idea behind this is to survive, not that we play a perfect 4-3-3. Is it capable of helping us stay defensive with our three midfielders trying to cover as much as they can? But then when we do go long, we have three up the front in the attack to work off each other, and we know Max and Doyle will get up there when they have a chance.
I think the problem with the back four is essentially your fullbacks are left one-on-one. That's that's
there's no one to cover them.
There's no because at the moment, like you said, they do what they do, but they've got that extra cover from the wing backs. You go to a back four, you are essentially leaving Doyle and Max up against the opposition's wingers one-on-one, and your midfield three then can't necessarily come out and cover and double up, because then you've got a chasm through the middle of your park that people can drive through, basically. Which is why you look at every team in this division who do play a back four, the fullbacks are essentially absolute dynamos. They go up and down all the time. They're ridiculous. I agree what you're saying. Like, you want to be more defensive. I don't think a 4-3-3 is more defensive. I think that's more of that is more attacking in a matter of sense, and I just don't think you've got the personnel to do it.
So it looks like we're coming to Parky's defense here. We haven't found any real heavy discussion point that says, well, he could do this or should do this to make things better. We just have to survive till January by the look of it.
I think this has been the perennial conversation for the last few weeks. It has been. So we're just basically trying to survive all the way to the transfer window. And many of us were in, when you had the pre-match show on. Everyone was basically saying, and I was saying it as well, is that we are playing not to lose. Everyone could see we were not playing. We were playing not to lose, but we are just trying to hang on, and we all know it. Everyone can know. Everyone knows it. We've got to look for something immediately as quick as possible to try and unlock what we have.
Yeah,
it's about moments, though, isn't it? It's like tonight when you guys went. I thought for the first 20 minutes you were by far the better side. Swansea didn't come out. You were miles better than them. And then, granted, the goal was completely lucky. Well, the first two goals were completely lucky. But the thing that I would be disappointed if I was a Wrexham fan is that you've gone 1-0 up against a side which are struggling this season. Let's be honest. All right, they've had an upturn in recent result and the new manager, and there's a bit of but you essentially you've got them right where you want them. That and I get that you haven't got your normal wing backs and stuff, but Swansea were not threatening. It was basically get the ball about 20 yards out and then take pot shots because they just didn't have a creative way of getting the ball in your box. I just think it's one of those moments where they've let it slip. Those are when you've got a team like that away from home. You don't go for the juggler, but you step on them. You don't give any. You just funnel. It was. I think as a few people said, 1-0. It was all like, oh, we'll take 1-0. And it's just like you can't do that. You just can't do that. You need to. There's all right going back 5 yards, but you still got to offer something the other way. And that was the problem. You went deeper, but you offered nothing going the other way. And that's the thing that would irk me is that yes, you've got the lead, you've got the game exactly where you want it, and you've just thrown it away essentially.
I said that as well. I said that at the beginning when I came on. I don't know what happened. First 20 minutes, we were all over them. And then something happened that they started to pick up, which I was thinking, why are you not throwing your players on them? Why are you not overloading them the way you was just 20 minutes ago? And I was thinking, okay, maybe we were going to come out the second half. We're going to do the same thing. Just go for it. And then it's the same repeat pattern. Just defend. And it's not going to, we're just still playing not to lose. And you'll get a lot of draws if you can handle that pressure. But then it's also a good way of getting losses as well. And those losses will end up racking up. If people start figuring out, oh, this is all we just need to do to them. We just play around them.
Yeah, but okay, look at the matches, the way we've played them, the chances we've had, and the fact we have been up in so many matches and gone on to lose it, right? Would we have more points or less points if we went heavier on our attack than defense? In that we just swapped a couple of players to have the more attack-heavy players available instead of going Parky pure defense. Now, I know it's not as simple as this, but the simple numbers say we are so close to winning lots of these matches that if we did go more attacking, we would end up winning more matches and getting 3 points than we can achieve as draws in order to get those 3 points, because it takes 3 matches at draws, 1 point each, to get your 3 points. I do believe we have a better shot of winning one of those 3 matches and losing the other 2 and coming out with the same points as trying to draw 3 of them, if that's what our results are getting us from being defensive. And I know now we're starting to lose some matches as well. I don't know if you heard there, John, I started by saying in the last 5 matches, we have scored 3 points. And in the last 10, we've scored 14. That's not good.
No, but yeah, I mean, this league can do that to you.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the fundamental truth. Is this league you can go on a 6-7 game run where you find it hard. That's just the level we're at. I think I've said it a while back. I think the thing that you just got to accept with Parkinson and his tactics is that they're all narrow games. You know, you very rarely win a game 3-4-0. So the way that he plays and the way the team sets up and the tactics and everything, they're all narrow games. And the problem is with narrow games is that if you are not quite 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, all of you will probably get sucker punched. And that's what happened tonight. And I think the problem is that's the fine line of at this level, if you aren't, because of the way you play, you're not going to go out and sort of go attacking because that's not the way the team is structured and he is structured as a manager. So yeah, like I said, I'll be honest, I don't know what I don't think he changed it, and I think the problem, like you said, you're just going to have to wait it out. And yes, the form is not great, but you know, hey, somebody could make a goalkeeping error against you guys the next week, and you sneak a win that you don't deserve. Almost, you know, these things can happen.
Yeah, and we've said it numerous times. In this league, everybody's capable of beating everybody. Another way of saying that is everybody has the quality to hurt you if you don't finish these games, if you don't take those chances when we get them. And we have had chances in almost every single match. We have been really close to getting the goals we need. Or if we got the goals, we screwed it up by our defense not sticking it. And that's because other teams are dangerous too. They have the ability to do it.
The thing I'm wondering is why, if we had stayed playing like we did in the first 20 minutes throughout the entire match, you could see that we would always put pressure on other teams. We would just be pressing and pressing and pressing constantly, just like we did in the first 20 minutes, and it would be very aggressive, and they would feel the pressure on them, and they would always break down their form. If we did that, it would be a lot harder for them to be able to get their passing game going.
Yeah, of course you can never do it for the entire match, but yes, if you can do it for a much greater percentage than we are, then yes, it puts the pressure back on them as well.
That's pretty much what Klopp did at Liverpool. Just constantly just put pressure and pressure and pressure, just pressing the other team into oblivion.
Yeah.
It's a mentality thing, though, isn't it? That's what it boils down to. It's a mentality thing within the squad and within the players. Is that when they go one goal up, naturally it's to funnel back and defend the lead. That's very hard to. I know as football fans, we all love to say like flick of a switch, go and attack them, sort of thing. It's very hard to change that mentality. I mean, speaking as a Birmingham fan, for decades, we were very much the same. We'd score a goal and everyone funnel back and you'd defend for your lives. It's hard to change that within a squad mentality that, you know, if you guys are saying that it's common occurrence, then yeah.
It is a common occurrence, but what I will say about kind of your argument there is it should never happen at 25 minutes. You know what I mean? Like one goal and switching defensive no matter what period of the match it is not going to win you the match. If you give another team even a solid 30 minutes where they are just dominating, they are likely to find a way through. They are good enough to do it.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I've always thought, especially in this league, is you give a team the opportunity to take control and the momentum of a game, it is very hard to wrestle it back once you've done that. And it's like when you concede an equaliser, it's very hard to then flick the switch and then go up the other end, and suddenly become a bit more attacking. So I agree. Like 25 minutes is kind of obscene. You know, it's one of those where you expect 1-0 away from home. The remit should be you get to half time and then you reassess, and then as an away side you always know, right, if you're winning at half time, the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, the home side are going to come at you, so be solid in that and then grow into the game. But yeah, 25 minutes in the first half, yeah, bit extreme.
It was that early in the game. We got the early goal, and then We just absorbed the pressure, which we shouldn't have done. Should have just gone straight for it again for another goal.
I would add, even though you went defensive and a bit deep in that, I sat there and as a neutral, I thought, well, I know you're saying you take pressure, but they didn't look like scoring for me. Like I said, they didn't create anything. They had a lot of, I wouldn't even say they had good play. A lot of it was mistimed and misplaced. But when they did sort of put a few moves together, it was always pot shots from like 20 yards. And you just kind of thought, well, fine. If you want to shoot from 25 yards for the rest of the game, fine, we'll take that. Like I said, even though you sat deep, I don't think they really threatened you in the first half. I think obviously tactically, I think their manager made changes at half time because they were a lot more energetic and they moved the ball quicker especially into the wide areas. There was a lot less touches to defenders. I think when they were playing out in the first half, it was very lethargic build up from the centre backs out. It was take too long. Second half, it was very noticeable. It was like 1-2 touch and the ball got out quicker. Which then put you guys under pressure because they were at your wing backs or your defensive line a lot sooner than the first half.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to go through our list of players that we brought in the summer and just have a quick word on each of them. And then that might be it for tonight, unless something grabs my attention from the chat, guys. But let's go through them. So from last summer, we got Ruben Egan as a free transfer just to cover with goalie. We'll leave that out. That's not important. Then we had Issa Kabore on loan from Man City. We know we love him. He's really helpful on the right wing. He is quick. He's fast. He puts his body on the line, but he's now injured and not available. So, okay, that's fine. Next up, Dominic Hyam, playing well. Solid center of our defense. We need him. We do not want him going down. He has obviously moved over to the left in order to get Scar in there, and that has changed recently. But he is a key from our signings in the summer. Then Ben Sheaf in front of Hyam in the center has been playing really well, but only recently has started playing a full match. He was consistently been taken off after the 60 minutes, 70 minutes, which I found strange that he needed that much time to also be taken care of with kid gloves, that he hasn't been injured. Now, good thing he hasn't. He is fairly decent. I am a little surprised, though, that James has been managing to get into the team so much and swapping as well. So I'm a bit worried about Chief and how much kid gloves is needed about him, but he's an excellent player. All right, next up is Callum Doyle. He has only started getting into the position. He played a couple of matches, then got hooked, and is now coming back in. He is more attacking on that left-hand side. Now that Brunte's injured and gone for the time being. So he's doing okay, but only starting to come into his role. Nathan Broadhead, ghost. He's not playing. He's not getting on. So at the moment, that looks like a complete waste of a player, unfortunately. Kiefer Moore, of course, plays every single match, and God help us if he goes down, because Parky doesn't seem to have any idea what to do if Moore isn't playing that role. Connor Cody as well. Connor Cody isn't playing. That's another one. Then we have Lewis O'Brien. He was playing, then he wasn't playing, then he was playing, then he wasn't playing, and now he's injured with a shoulder injury after today. Could be a bad one. He might be out for a significant amount of time, trying to get that fixed. Liberto Cacace, he came in for a short period of time, then he went out injured, then he came back a little bit, then he went out injured. Great player, but just not available for us. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Danny Ward came in to cover with AO. He played, he got injured, he's gone until maybe January. He's back around the club, but he has some recovering to do on his shoulder, so that he has full range of motion. Will we need him? AO was playing very well, but again, issues tonight. Then we have Ryan Hardy. Ryan Hardy was not being played at all. We had brought in other players ahead of him, got a decent deal on bringing him in. He unfortunately just didn't get to play, not really his fault. And now in training, after last week when he came on late, he got a knock as well of some sort, head, I think, or something. And he's going to be out for a period of time, which may actually hurt him moving teams because he wanted to leave. Apparently, is the rumor. So he may or may not get a move after having an injury. And then we are back to older players. So far, our players who we brought in this summer, some of them not their fault, just haven't really worked out for us. Lots and lots of injuries. And unfortunately, a lot of the players that are still left over from League One are not good enough. They need to be replaced themselves. If not this January, then certainly next summer. We don't have enough cover in positions where we upgraded. So, any particular comments on that you want to hit, guys? That was really just a rundown of everything from our new players that we would have hoped would have been playing.
I'm not prepared for Sheffield. I'm really not. I said it earlier in the pre-match show. I said we're playing not to lose, and I said we're probably going to get a draw. Well, we got a worse outcome than a draw, so I don't know whether we're going to get a draw or a loss in the next match, and it's looking like it could be either one.
Yeah,
Depends what we do to them tomorrow, I guess.
Well, they're playing at St Andrews.
Nope.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got them away. So.
Ooh. And they've been doing pretty good as well.
They do have the 5th worst home record in the division. So, you know, that's small straws I'm grasping to there.
Yeah, still something. But then again, you drew with Charlton.
Yes, we did. We did.
So that's, I mean, I thought you guys were going to batter them, so.
We sort of did, but just didn't score. We fell asleep for 20 minutes. So, but Sheffield's going to be an interesting one because Sheffield are not. The thing is with Sheffield, you look at the league position. They're not. They're in a false position, aren't they? Because they're not playing like a side who are in that position. They were at the start of the season, but you know, anyone who thinks playing Sheffield, you know, you're playing a lower half, so they're not. That's the worry I have with us tomorrow is that we're not going away to a team which, you know, is what are they 18th, 19th in the division. They're a far better team than that, and their research shows that.
It's mainly because of Ruben Sellers, and I don't know what he did there, but bring back Wilder, and then everything seems to work fine again.
They do have issues. They do. Don't get me wrong. They do have issues, and they have weaknesses. I won't lie. I think we're probably in a better position to affect those weaknesses than you guys probably are at the moment. But I mean, if you're a betting man, I'd say you'd be putting on some money of Kiefer Moore scoring against them.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There seems to be this thing where everyone who takes a loss, and then they face us. Let's say you take a bad. Let's say you beat them, and you beat them pretty badly as well, or if they lose to you, they're going to be pretty demoralised from that, and then they're going to kind of come back and they're going to face us, and they're going to like, all right, we need to take them out. They're going to be really up for it as soon as they face someone like us, and we're going to be like, well, we'll try and score the first 20 minutes, and then we'll sit back, and we'll let you do all the work, and then they get through.
Unfortunately, I think they'll look at it and think if they can beat us and then you, they go above both of us. Then I think.
Yeah. They'll be going for both certainly. Yeah, because like it or lump it, at the moment we are mid-table teams, and we're playing like mid-table teams. So they're going to be looking at both of us and saying these are winnable matches. Because from your guys' point of view, you don't play well away. So that's an extra positive there. And we're just not playing good at all lately. So they know we have injuries. Everybody can see them. And seeing the problems we have. So yeah, they'll be going for both of those. But guys, this conversation is spiraling down a negative path. So I think we might finish it here. We have done 90 minutes on this horrible match discussion, and I do have a little positive for our On That Bombshell, and it's from Matt White. So Matt, you get the On the Bombshell tonight. At least Sheffield United is at home. Does that count as being positive? Well, guys, you can figure that one out for yourself. Take care, everybody. But before we go, do hit the like button. I'm never asked for you to do it, but after this horrendous match and after doing 90 minutes on this horrendous match, I think we deserve it today. Hit that like button and we will see you next time. Bye.